everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are so excited today. We have a very special interview for you. I am Rachel and Amber's here.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and we have a special Hallstar here to talk with us. We are talking to Autumn Reeser. This is so exciting.
Hi, I love that I'm a Hallstar. That's adorable. I've never heard that. Hi.
You may be the biggest Hallstar we've had yet. You're definitely in the running. Top 5 for sure.
Woohoo! Go
I
me.
mean, you are one of the queens of Hallmark. Like,
yes.
It's a very big deal.
I mean, I feel like I'll take princess. I don't know about queen. I feel like maybe Danica and Lacey have that crown. But I'm just happy to be on the court.
Hey, there you go.
Happy.
Well, we're so excited. We are very grateful for you taking the time out of your day to talk with us. And I know our listeners are going to be so interested in hearing more about you. And what we like to do is we like to ask our guests to introduce yourself and to tell us what inspired you to become an actress.
Okay. Well, I saw a play when I was about 6.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a child in the play. I saw Cinderella, and I really didn't care much about Cinderella. Like, great, good for her. She has her own storyline. But there was a kid my age playing a mouse,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, what is happening? Oh my God, that's what I'm supposed to do with my life. I need mouse ears and makeup on my face, and I need to be on that stage. And I basically begged my parents to put me in theater. And which, luckily they did, and they were super supportive of, and we found my local community theater, and they let me try out for the next play, which basically just consisted of reciting a bunch of nursery rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the child lead in it, and the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. Well, you are
That
right
was it.
out.
Love at first sight.
Yeah. Well, you were right out of Amber's heart then, because she loves the secondary characters. And so you didn't.
And you fell in love with the mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was what was always interesting to me. I always liked the character actors and the character roles. And,
Mm-hmm.
I realized when I actually, got older, I realized that wasn't going to be my casting for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got okay with that. But yeah, definitely at first I was like, I want to say all of the, I want a weird hat and I want a funny voice. And, yeah.
That is really funny. I love it.
Yeah.
Your parents were like, you don't want to be the princess, you want to be the mouse.
I was like, no. Oh my God. The funny thing is the play that I did right after that, even though I was the lead, I was very upset because one of the other little girls got to play a dog. And she literally had no lines, and I had all of the lines, and I could not care less. I was like, she has a really cool outfit, and she's got spots on her face, and what have I done wrong? Dress and pretty makeup and lines. I want dog ears. No, I've moved past that.
Oh, good. That's good. That's funny. So how did you transition from that to working in television and things like that?
I read a lot of biographies. I was an avid reader, and so I read a lot of biographies of actors when I was growing up. And I don't know. I guess I just, let me think. How did I decide to go into it? Well, I'm from Southern California.
Mm.
So even though I grew up 2 hours outside of Los Angeles, it wasn't like I had to move across the country to pursue it. I applied to one theater school when I was 17 because I was like, I'm either going to move to LA and waitress tables, or I'm going to hopefully get into UCLA. And luckily I did. And then I went to theater school for a few years there. And then I started working in film and television pretty quickly. I was an intern at a casting agency so that I could learn more about the business side of things. And I liked the business side. I thought that was unique and interesting. And it always was apparent to me that was the direction that I was going to pursue. I still love theater. I still do theater. But, it's certainly more difficult to make a living in theater than it is in film and television.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's really cool to get to start understanding casting. Like that seems like such a smart decision at the beginning of your career.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still like that. I like to know as much as possible about what I'm going into. I'm releasing a little bit more of that and just learning to trust and surrender to whatever God has in store for me. But I'm somebody who I like to get a lot of information and I like to do research and yeah.
Cool. That sounds great. Well, so how did you get, it must have been an interesting thing to have the role on the OC, given you grew up in Southern California.
Yes. It was a really different world than I grew up in. I did not grow up in affluence. And so I was like, it's a world that I didn't know as far as the world of the OC, but it's a world that most of us who went to high school know as far as those, the interactions, teenage interactions and relationships. But yeah, I mean, that job changed my life. I loved it. I loved my character. I learned more of how to be myself through playing her because she always accepted herself even when other people didn't.
Yes. And I just have to say, I was probably Taylor Townsend's biggest fan.
Yay!
I don't know if anyone else in the entire earth was like, season 4, Taylor's getting a bigger role. She's gonna date Ryan. This is the best. I was so excited. Season 4 is my favorite season, probably because of the Groundhog Day episode alone is just amazing.
That's one of my favorites too. That was so much fun and so absurd. I loved it.
And you got to dress up like an animal, so it's childhood dream.
Which is totally, yeah. I did. Oh my gosh, it comes full circle.
But anyway, yeah. So, and I've just been ever since the OC. I've been like, oh my gosh, Autumn Reeser's the most amazing. So, I mean, and that that led me to loving Valentine and No Ordinary Family. And then you started making Hallmark movies, so I was so excited.
I love that you just referenced Valentine. That is one of the more obscure jobs that I've ever done, and it lasted for such a short time. So I love that you were one of the few that watched it.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I own the iTunes downloaded a whole season.
Oh my God,
with your fellow Hallstar Christopher Palaha.
So. Oh my God, love him. We're dying to do a Hallmark movie together. Actually, we were talking about doing. I really want to do one with him. I loved doing that show though because we had musical episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It
was so good.
I was a musical theater major. I'm like, I love the chance to do that. So much fun.
So I think that we need a Valentine themed movie with you, Christopher Palaha, and it's a musical. Just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sold. I'll pitch it next week.
Yay! That sounds really good. Yeah, that must have been a surreal experience being on one of those kind of teen shows like that. It must have been pretty intense.
Yeah, it really was, and it was an adjustment period because that show had so much attention on it, and the other actors had so much attention on them. And that was I was basically coming from, busting my bum at acting class for the previous couple years and to kind of be catapulted from this sort of dark, nose to the grindstone, just doing it for the art type of place to the paparazzi stalking us at work. It made me very uncomfortable, and I don't think I made that transition particularly gracefully. I think I made it with some fear and resistance, and but that's fine and normal, and I got through it. And I learned a lot working on that show, a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't even imagine. That would be so surreal, weird, having your life in a fishbowl like that.
Yeah, and and I didn't have much of that, luckily, but watching the other people around me who did was definitely surreal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you were on Entourage for 10 episodes. Is that fun?
That was a dream role. That was one of those a lot of actors, we have like a handful of dream projects and what we would like to play in them. And Entourage was one for me. And I was like, I want to be an Entourage and I want to go head to head with Ari Gold. And that was exactly what happened. And I was like, oh my God, dreams come true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super, super fun. Super fun.
That's cool. Was it a real contrast to what you'd done in the past, just being an HBO show and all?
No, not really. I mean, I'd been doing this for so long, and even at that point, I mean, I'd been in the business for almost 10 years, I think, and it's all the same to some degree, just varying tones, and you in depending on who you're making it for, whether it's theater, whether it's big screen film, or whether it's TV. There's the basic tenets of what I'm doing are the same.
Yeah. Interesting. That's really cool. So your first role for Hallmark was the Love of the Thanksgiving Day Parade, correct?
Yes, and they had actually pitched me for the I don't know, 2 or 3 years prior to that. They'd sent me various scripts, and I had said no, it wasn't something I was interested in doing. Hallmark was in a really different place at that time too. And when I read Nancy Silver's script, Love of the Thanksgiving Day Parade, I thought it was so adorable, and it had that classic banter from the 1940s, which are the type of films that are really dear to my heart. Those kind of strong, powerful women who hold their own against men, and they the spark happens through that sense of competition and witty banter, and that's what that script had to me. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And I hadn't starred in a movie at that point. I hadn't tested my skill to see if I could carry a movie, and so that really appealed to me to get to try that out and experiment.
That's so cool. It's one of my favorites. Christmas movies. I really like it.
I think the dialogue is really great in it. I really do. It's a fun movie to watch.
And you got to work with Antonio Cupo, who you would work with again, but you have good chemistry with him.
He's so dear to my heart. I just adore him. Yeah, we did another movie for Hallmark, and then we actually just did a separate movie, a horror movie. We just finished that, completely unrelated.
Oh,
I'm not going to bundle it into the Hallmark trilogy, though. It'll just be separate.
Oh, yeah, we'll keep it separate.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you're one of the rare roles that a city girl is actually nice. And doesn't have to be reformed in a Hallmark movie.
I know. Yeah, I feel like that's my thing. It's like City Girls returns to her roots or discovers love in the country. Like that's sort of my thing there. And it's funny, I have another project in development for them that we'll get to do for next summer. But that's the theme of that too. It's like a busy New York girl gives up her life in the city to try a week on a ranch in the country, and of course, falls in love.
But in Love of the Thanksgiving Day Parade, I think the fact that you were still involved in a parade, it kept you grounded from that city life, from the toxic city life.
Right. And I mean, the whole thing with that character is she was all about nostalgia. She wore all vintage, and she loved hard copy books, and she, fought for the hometown feel of the parade and why it's important to the community. So even though she was in a big city, she had those small town values.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do love her fashion in the movie. It's very, very.
Me too.
Yeah.
I got them. I went to one of my favorite, who she doesn't do vintage anymore, but there was this amazing shop at the time called Shireen Vintage downtown. And when I booked that movie, I was like, I want to go pick out my wardrobe. And so I went down to Shireen, and we worked together. I was there for 6 hours and tried on everything in the store that I felt could be appropriate for the character. We took photos of everything, and then we sent it to the wardrobe stylist, and she picked and chose. And then she mixed in some of her own pieces, like that yellow dress that I wear in that's vintage Dior from 1952.
Wow.
So that was rented because that was expensive. But, she mixed in her own pieces too. But I loved that I got to go and select so many of those pieces myself. And I got to keep some of them too. So some of them are still in my wardrobe.
That's really, really cool. And you got to work with Allie Liebert in that one, who we love.
Yes. I love Allie, adore her. We were just trying to get together when she was going to come to LA. So she's still a really close friend of mine. We see each other whenever we're in each other's cities.
Mm-hmm. And she's become a Hallmark darling over the last couple of years, which is so fun. Mm-hmm.
I love it. She deserves it.
So your next role for Hallmark was the Midnight Masquerade, I think. And
was that what I did next? I'm going to go with yes. Sure.
Let me double check.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, which IMDb is king. Midnight Masquerade. Was that a fun experience to be in?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so that was right after I had my second son. I was like 4 months. He was 4 months old when I went and did that, and we shot it in Canada. Yeah, so I don't remember a lot of that movie, to be totally honest, because I was so sleep deprived.
Oh, yeah.
I was exhausted. I had a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old, like, put into a little tiny hotel room in Sudbury, from what I remember. So it was, I don't remember a lot of that.
Well, it was a good job. You did a good job, so don't worry about it. You're fine.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hard to make a character, a rich heiress kind of character like you played. Like, it's hard to make them likable, but I think you did a good job in that, of making her likable. So even though you couldn't remember, you were so sleep deprived that you were likable.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, good. Phew. I made it through.
Yeah, you did. And you had pretty clothes in that one too. So you have good fashion luck in Hallmark movies.
I remember there was a ball gown. I remember the ball gown. Yeah.
It was pretty. And then you had I Do with Antonio Cupo.
Yeah, I shot that like 6 months later. That's right.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Right. That one was really fun. All the wedding dresses, and Allie was in that one with me too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Nancy Silvers wrote that script too. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, Nancy Silvers is incredible. Can we just talk about that real quick? She's the best.
I love her so much.
Yeah.
She's so great. I have this fantasy that she'll write the sequel to A Country Wedding, and it'll be A Country Christmas. That's what I want her to do. Wouldn't that be cute?
Yeah, that would be so cute.
I feel pretty confident that everyone wants that movie to happen. Like, as soon as this podcast gets released, like, watch out. Hashtag A Country Christmas.
Tell Bill and Michelle. Yeah, I think it would be really sweet. I think there's more to tell about that story too with those two characters. I think we could do it.
Yeah. Well, and you got to be directed by Ron Oliver in that, who's like a Hallmark legend.
Mr. Oliver, one of the dearest people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I love him so much. He's very busy now. Very busy.
Oh, I know. Amazing.
All of the movies. I know.
He just did Christmas Train, last year, which was with the big Hallmark Hall of Fame. So that was exciting.
Yeah, that one did really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a clever idea of just reliving, this wedding day over and over and over again until she kind of gets things right. It's a clever concept.
I think a lot of people wish they could live their wedding day again.
Yeah.
Just to fix it. Maybe have a different person, maybe a dress, different photographer, change it all up.
Yeah. I can only imagine. It's probably pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of country wedding, so that was your next one. And
yes, it was, yes.
This is, I think, one of the best non-Christmas Hallmark movies. Period. End of story. I think you and Jesse had such good chemistry. I think there were so many sweet, adorable moments. And I love the scene when you're dancing and you kiss. Because I'm a big kisses fan and romances. But that scene is so romantic, I think.
My favorite thing about that movie is the wedding at the end. I think it's such a sweet wedding. I would totally have that wedding. I love my hair in that.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. Whatever they did to it looks so good. I loved it. And I was like, oh, I wish this was my own wedding.
Like,
I'm such a sucker for weddings. Like, I love all of that. I love to see, you know, what people are wearing and where the wedding's held and all of that. I think it's really, they're so sweet.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And like his proposal was so sweet. Oh, it's just an adorable wedding, an adorable movie.
Good, thank you.
And don't forget, people who are listening to this, hashtag A Country Christmas.
Christmas wedding. Or,
A Country Christmas.
Country Christmas.
I don't think they've done one called A Country Christmas. They're waiting for the sequel for this one.
Seems like
that title.
Yeah. Hey, that sounds good to me. Yeah, and I really liked I don't know, there was just such big heart to the movie. And I don't know, was it a special kind of movie to shoot? And did you feel like it was something?
It really was. And Anne Wheeler, I really liked her direction on that. She has such a there's such a calm underlying that movie, which is her nature. And I feel like you really feel her hand in that movie, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, there's this, because he's sort of resigned to the fact that, well, I'm just going to do something that's convenient and that makes sense intellectually, as opposed to, you know, where his heart really is. And I like the fact that I think both of you are pretty dynamic characters in it, you know, because sometimes some of these is like the leading guy is just so perfect, and or you know, one or the other, that I don't know, this, I felt like they're both kind of flawed and interesting, and I don't know, just really good. I really like it.
Good. I'm glad.
Plus, good to see. I love a man in a cowboy hat, so I'm a big fan of that.
Hello. Yeah. And Jesse Metcalf in a cowboy hat. Hello. That's wrong there. He's so gorgeous.
Yeah. I'll sign up for that any day.
A Country Christmas, another reason. Country Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, I know you make these movies super fast. Is that stressful for you, or like, how is that experience?
Yes. All of the yeses. Yes. It's so intense. Shooting for Hallmark is super, super intense because, we shoot these in 3 weeks. And, you know, it's 16-hour days, and you're in pretty much every scene. I mean, I think the only one that I had a schedule where I could breathe a little was Midnight Masquerade, because it's a reverse Cinderella story. So the guy who I was in that with has more screen time. He's playing the Cinderella character. But everything else, it's like, you know, it's super intense and it's super exhausting. And I've actually really been working on the last couple years, how do I support my health through that? Because when I did Bramble House Christmas last summer, I was just a wreck when I came off of it, just physically. I was not, you know, healthy. It's just like you go, and my sleep gets messed up, and my eating, and just everything. And it took me a while to recover from it. And so I've spent this last year learning more about my body and the way that I work, so that I can support myself and my health through these movies in a more sustainable way. And when I just finished shooting Season for Love, it was so great. It was so enjoyable, because it's still really hard on my body, but I came out of it and recovered really quickly. And so I was like, okay, all of the work that I put into, you know, figuring out what works for me, like it's working. So now I'm like, okay, good, I'm good to go. I can do like at least, you know, I can keep going for at least 5 more years making these movies, because I can take care of my health. So, it's an intense process, and I'm sure you've heard that from the other women who you've had on your show.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
In the end, you know, I'm like, we're so privileged to make these movies, and like, we're not working in a coal mine. Like, it's, you know what I mean? We're making romantic fantasy. So, like, it's, you know, it's worth it. It really is. And it's a pleasure to get the opportunity to do this.
That's really cool. I mean, did you grow up watching a lot of movies? Have a love for, I know you said theater, but did you watch these kind of movies, rom-coms and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what movies. Well, The Princess Bride is my favorite movie.
Mm-hmm.
I have a soft spot for romance. Amelie is another one of my movies. Like, if I could make movies, that would be the type of movie I would want to create. So yeah, I love romances. I mean, I love musicals, so very often those two things go together. But yeah, is there other types of filmmaking that I also love? Of course.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's really cool. So your next movie was Valentine Ever After. In this, you got to work with Eric Johnson, and that must have been fun.
Yeah, we had a really good time on that movie, except for the fact that it was freezing and the whole movie's outdoors.
Yeah.
They ended up having like it was really cold. We were back in Sudbury, and the whole movie is set with snow, and we didn't get any snow. It was bitterly cold. It was freezing levels, but it never snowed until like the last 2 days of production. And then we got all of those beautiful outdoor riding shots, and it was stunning and it was gorgeous. But like all the way up until then, we were like, oh, guess we'll be adding digital snow. Like there's no snow. But we got some eventually. But yeah, that was a good experience for sure. And Vanessa Matsui was in that with me, and she's so lovely.
Yeah, I wish that she was in more of the Hallmark movies.
Me too.
Like, where has she gone? Bring her back. Hashtag Vanessa Matsui. Oh, maybe. I guess that could.
I think she's busy in motherhood, but you can still hashtag her and ask her to be brought back. We can still work when we have babies. Hashtag her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, this was quite a premise for this one. It's kind of classic Hallmark with these, getting stuck in this small town, having to do this community service. Of course, there's the hunky guy.
Yes.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was very fun.
All right. So, and you got to be on feature film on the film Sully. Was that cool to work? Was that cool working with Clint Eastwood?
Oh my God, yeah, dream job. Go to work with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
So that was quite an experience and very different. I mean, big budget, clearly, and just hundreds of people on set, 4 cameras. All the executives were in a big tank of water on the Universal lot. We shot. I mean, I'm on screen for such a short period of time, but I was in New York for 5 days, and then I was back in Los Angeles for 2 weeks, all for that tiny period of time, because we actually did shoot on the Hudson as well. In New York. So it was quite an like a bucket list experience just to work on a film of that scope with a filmmaker of that scale, and renown. It was I was really very blessed.
Yeah. Did you get to meet Tom Hanks?
Yes, he's lovely.
Someday someone's going to be like, he was so rude to me, and it'll just be like,
I don't think anyone's ever going to say that.
To be fair, I don't think that it's, like, they'd be lying, but someday someone will say it.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, and then the Bramble House Christmas, and so this one was based on a book. Did you read the book like before?
I did not. I did not read the book. I think I usually would have, but this one seemed pretty straightforward. And the other thing is, a lot of times we don't have that much time to prepare for these movies, and so you have a week basically, which is what I think I had on Bramble House. And you're left going, okay, so I can either work on the character that's on the page that's going to end up send a voicemail. I can either work on the character that's on the page and work on my lines and developing that and where I overlap with her and fleshing that out, or you just have to be judicious about how you use your time.
Absolutely.
And yeah, for me, it's always about what's going to end up on screen and what's the emotional through line in the script. That's where I would rather spend my energy.
That makes sense. So did you film that in the summer?
We did that in the summer. Yes, in full wool tights and sweaters in 76-degree heat in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Poor David was sweating through that whole movie. If they would have to come in and mop him off in between every take. Poor thing.
Poor guy.
And your the kid who played your son is so cute.
Oh my God, Liam is the sweetest. He's so well behaved. He's such a little professional. He wrote me a thank you card afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
He is really just the sweetest.
And I mean, no offense to you or David, but Liam stole the show when he was talking about like, oh, no one's ever really asked me what I want to be when I grow up because I was sick for so long.
Yes.
I was dead. I mean, after that moment, he killed me. It was incredible. Like, that kid, he's too adorable and too good. It's ridiculous.
Really, really is. He really is. Oh, I adore him.
Because he plays Philip on When Calls the Heart, and he is one of the best things on the show. Him and Opal are our favorites. Like, forget the adults. We like Opal and Philip the best.
That's so cute.
Yeah, they're so charming. And this one, maybe it was because it was based on a book. I thought it was really well written. I think I felt like her motivation was so understandable, and I thought his motivation was understandable. Like, he's trying to protect the interests of his father, who he doesn't like. He's conflicted about that, but he thinks that she's that she's taken advantage of an old man, and so his motivation made sense. And she also made sense because she's had all these hard breaks, and she gets one good thing. She jumps on it. I thought that was nice because I enjoy the archetypal ones where it's just kind of silly and over the top, but it's also nice, these ones that are a little more grounded.
Yeah, I think you'll like Season for Love a lot then, because it's very much, they're dealing with real world issues. They're adults, they're grown-ups, there's kids involved, and they have to think everything through. Just like, Bramble House was really similar. These are grown-ups that, it's not just we're falling head over heels in love with each other. There's a lot of complex issues at play. So I think if you liked Bramble House, I think you'll really like Season for Love.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Excited for you to see it.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about Season for Love.
So I play a woman named Tyler, who is a sous chef in San Francisco, who's trying to move up in the fast-paced restaurant world and has done really well for herself there. And when she was in high school, she had a romance with this boy Corey, and they decided to let each other go their separate ways to pursue their individual dreams, even though they still loved each other. So he's gone off, he's become a big celebrity barbecue chef, and she's gone off and lived her life. She's had a daughter, she's gotten divorced, and they both end up back in their same small town in the summer, back in Texas, Red Rock, Texas, for the annual barbecue contest. And they sort of, through a series of events, end up being competitors in it, and they wonder, should they uproot everything that they know about their lives and all of this, external success that they've had for taking a second chance at something that could be really good.
I do wish they had worked in I wish they had worked in barbecue into the title somehow. That's my only regret, because it sounds fantastic.
It used to be called A Sweet Taste of Love. Like, when we were working on it, that's what it was called, and then midway through it gets renamed. Season for Love.
I think Season for Love is a better choice than Sweet Taste of Love.
Yeah, because that sounds like it's cupcakes or something.
Me too. That's what I thought. It sounds like now we're in a bakery, but Season for Love, it's summer season and it's barbecue seasoning.
Yeah, it's a little spicier than the sweetness of love.
And my name's Autumn, which is also a season, so it's perfect.
Oh, you're right. Look at you.
Tying it all in, ladies. I do.
Well, so you got to work with Mark Blucas, who we loved last year in Miss Christmas. It was one of the highlights of last year, Countdown to Christmas. So that must have been pretty fun to work with him.
I adore him. Yeah, I would, like, he's a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's genuinely somebody who I'm going to keep in touch with. And was just, so it's just lovely to work with him, just easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we have a genuine camaraderie that shows up on the screen.
Awesome. We're very excited.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really excited. Do you like barbecue? Are you a fan, or are you not much of a meat eater?
Should I lie and say yes? No, I I love meat and actually love grilling, but I don't like barbecue sauce. I think it's weird. I don't understand it. And I had to smell it this whole movie. Oh my word! Like I felt like I went home smelling like barbecue sauce.
Well, maybe you should have like North Carolina barbecue, because they just use the vinegar. Maybe that'd be your,
oh my
style.
God! Somebody from North Carolina, send me a recipe on Twitter or Instagram or something, and I will try it out this summer.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Any sort of barbecue that I don't need actual barbecue sauce for, please tweet me, Instagram me your recipes. Yeah. I will make them.
Yeah. Well, you can even just send it. You can, if you want to send it as a comment or whatever on the podcast, we'll pass it on to Autumn. That'll be great.
I need it to be in the form of a recipe book. It needs to be compiled in a 3-wing binder.
Yeah.
Full Blue Apron style. Please send me all the ingredients.
Oh God, please! I love the Blue Apron. Yes, please. All orgies ready to go.
Yeah. Because sometimes those barbecue sauces can be a little too sweet for me. I like them more.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we did change the title from The Sweet Taste of Love to Season for Love. So get that sweet barbecue sauce out of here.
Thank you. Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I was just trying to think of what would be a good like barbecue. It'd be like Smoke and Love or something. I don't know. They probably went with the correct title.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. That's funny. Well, we're definitely looking forward to that. So, well, we like to end our interviews with sort of some silly questions. That we call
fun. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. And this is the part where I actually show up. You're like, why is this weird girl been here sometimes? It's me. This is my part.
Okay.
So we call these our Teen Beat questions, because I literally stole a lot of these questions from an old Teen Beat interview.
God, yes.
The first one is, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Oh God, are you making me choose? What is the best, or what is my favorite?
Well, your favorite's fine.
I'm gonna like salted caramel bourbon vanilla, if that's the flavor. That I want to eat that.
Well, I want to eat that now too. You invented something amazing. Watch out for your next Hallmark movie where you're an ice cream maker.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
With the fancy flavors. Okay.
We can use Sweet Taste of Love for that one.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be perfect.
It could be a Winterfest movie. That would be so good.
Oh my God. You guys have just come up with a lot of good pitches.
Yes.
And they're all fair game. No one needs to pay us if you do something with them. Just use them. All right. And then the next question is, what's your favorite color?
White.
Ooh.
Oh, interesting.
Because it's
very
all the colors.
winter.
You don't really have to pick then. It's all the colors reflected back.
Smart.
Brilliant. Look at you.
Although it gets clothes very, I spill too much of my clothes to wear white.
Yes, that's a consideration.
Yeah.
All right. And then this is what would have been what's in your CD player right now, but is what music are you listening to?
Listening
these
to
days?
Bahamas.
Oh.
You know that band Bahamas and Tina Granis?
I feel like
a lot of them lately.
That's very fun. Great work.
Yeah,
I like the fact, because like I feel like after everybody's interview, I almost like well, I guess I need to load up the iPod with some. I don't have an iPod. No one has an iPod. But, check out this new band, because I don't know who that band is. But I probably will like them. See? Look at you, spreading culture.
Yeah.
All right, and then the next question is, what is your go-to date night food?
Thai food. I think Thai food. I love to do Thai takeout and cuddle on the couch.
Oh, what do you like best? Do you like the curry or pad Thai or?
I get the pad Thai, the traditional pad Thai with fried tofu, and then I also get the drunken noodles, which is super spicy.
Mm-hmm. And
then I take like a ratio of like 3/4 pad Thai to 1/4 spicy drunken noodles, and I mix them up together. That's my tip. That's my recipe tip for everyone out there.
You really are a food scientist.
Sounds yummy to me.
I can't wait for the sequel to Season for Love, where you do Thai food. All right, and then I guess you kind of maybe covered this, but just in case you want to have a different answer, your go-to date night activity.
Well, I mean, really what it is, you probably aren't allowed to say out loud. But isn't that everyone's favorite date night activity?
I would hope so.
Yeah, if it's date night, hello. I'm just going to leave that there. I think we can.
Sounds good. Good.
That's a really good answer.
We'll, turn up the score and go to the window and watch the breeze blow through the blinds. That's what just happened right there. Okay, and then here are some either-or questions. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Excellent. All right, beaches or mountains?
Ooh, that's mountains.
Okay. Fancy ball gown or sweats?
Sweats.
Or if you want, like a dog costume.
Is that an option?
We can do whatever you want.
So you said sweats? I didn't hear you.
Sweats.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's honestly not fair, but what are you gonna do?
I feel like the only people that say fancy dress are like, we had Lila Fitzgerald, who's young. She was like, I want to look like a princess every day. And we're like, yeah, you're still young. Life hasn't whittled you down to sweats all the time.
All right. And then what is your favorite holiday?
Like to celebrate.
She's not Canadian. She would have known what holiday meant. She wouldn't think it was a vacation.
Canada Day. That's my favorite. It's Canada Day.
That's a great day.
For Hallmark.
It's a great day. Gosh, I don't have one. I really think like every opportunity to celebrate something is wonderful. I find it hard to rank them.
I love that answer. That's the best answer we've had. In your face, all the people who chose.
That's a really cute answer. I love it.
All right. And then this next one is the hardest one. It is the last one. And bear in mind, you are allowed to just choose one that you're in. Favorite Hallmark movie?
How do you make me choose between all my children?
You can choose one that you're not in, but you're definitely allowed to choose one you're in.
You guys, I really can't choose.
All right, but
I really can't. I mean,
it's fine.
I'm gonna. You know what is my favorite movie? Season for Love.
That's
airing this Friday or Saturday. Airing this Saturday. Season for Love.
Nice.
That's a very savvy answer. Great work.
I have some experience. Yeah.
Well, I think you passed the test. We'll let you keep making movies for us.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for continuing to watch them and for loving them and for all of your support, all of you Hallmarkies out there. Like, we really, really appreciate you, and I'm so happy that our movies make you happy.
Yes, and before we sign off with you, I do just want to say, it didn't come up naturally in conversation. I love The American Mall, and I think more people should buy the DVD. The end.
Deal. That's it. All right. Okay, good.
Well, you're a delight. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. This was a real treat for us. And
Absolutely. It was so nice talking with you.
do you have a social media that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram, so I'm just Autumn_Reeser.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. We'll put that in the description section for anyone listening, and so you can make sure you're following Autumn. And are you going to be like live tweeting or anything this?
Yeah. I'm gonna try. I have to figure out how I'm gonna watch it because I don't have a TV really.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So I thank you for reminding me because I need to reach out so that I can make that happen. Last time I just put a DVD into my computer and watched it at the same time that it was airing on the East Coast. So I'm gonna figure that out and I'm gonna say yes, I am gonna be live tweeting it.
Well, good. We'll look forward to that. We will definitely be watching, and we're excited. So, thanks again. We really appreciate it.
Nice to talk to you. Enjoy the movie.
We will. Bye.
Bye.
We'd really like to thank Autumn for sitting down and talking with us. It was such a delight. And Amber, where can people find you?
As always, I'm at Amber Brainwaves on Twitter, and that's it.
Yeah, that's great. And you can follow me, Rachel, at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube. I really appreciate that. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And if you can put in your reviews on iTunes, it really helps us out so that more people can find out about the podcast. So that's great. And let us know what you think. And what are some of your favorite Autumn Reeser roles? Put in let us know in the comment section or on Twitter. We'd love to hear. And thanks again, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.